Hi everyone, I'm going to do an art journal page today and I'm going to play with some watercolors. I've got my Paul Rubens a watercolor set. I've got this one without any brand that I've picked on Amazon, and I've got this ancient one from 3 decades ago by Pelican. So I want to play with mostly two colors and variation of the color. I'm thinking starting with purple. I want in this corner a purple, in this corner some kind of blues or turquoise, not sure yet. And it's going to be very free and not trying to control the watercolors. I'm using a watercolor brush just because it's easier to work with. It can load the water and the pigment very well, while other brushes don't do that. So purple, I'm thinking that I'll start with a dark purple, and I'm also going to spray here, so it would be easier to let the pigment, the paint, disperse on the page. I can always add more if I want to. I'm just playing and letting it do its work, not really concerned too much where it goes. So I've got this dark purple that I really like, and I want to go a little lighter, so I'm picking another purple. Not sure if you can see the difference. And let's see, maybe this one. I'm just playing. I want to go from a dark to light, so I'm just playing with whatever colors I've got here. Oops, picked up some blue, never mind. Just going to make it go all kinds of ways and blend with the other stuff. And if I wanted not to have a straight line here, I'm just going to spray it and let the water do its thing. That's the beauty of it. Just letting the water do what they do best, spread. And I'm just adding now more of the dark purple and more of the lighter purple. When watercolors dry, they tend to fade a little, so I'm not concerned about adding too much. I'm just having fun with it. Maybe a little bit more towards the inside of the page. And once again, I'm just spraying it a little bit and just letting it do whatever. So I've got this corner. Now in the other corner, the opposite corner, I'm going with some kind of turquoise, I think. So let's see, I want something dark again, to start with something dark. Don't know if it's dark enough. I'm gonna try this one. This is a little bit more greenish, so I'll just mix between the two. Doesn't really matter. Just spreading it again as I've done with the purple. I've got another turquoise. Yeah. Starting to really like what's going on here. Adding, so it would be more. Here we go. And now I'm just mixing between the two, so I'll have more of a blending in between. And now I'm going to once again spray it and let the water do its thing. Very, very easy. I just want more here, so I'm going back and I'm adding. You see, it's really easy. Don't have to be an expert on watercolors, just let it be. And that's the start of my background, leaving it be. I just have a little bit white here that I don't like, so I'm dealing with it. Okay, so I have this. I'm going to remove it to dry. Now I want to make my focal point or points. I'm planning on 2 birds. So bought this stencil on Temu and bought it basically because I really like the kingfisher bird here, and I'm going to turn it into a focal point. I've got watercolor here, and I've showed this before, how I'm making focal points from just a stencil. So what I'm doing is taking a pencil and starting to trace all the shapes that I want from the stencil. I'm going very fast. It doesn't really matter the details, just the overall shape, and you can pick whatever you want out of the stencil. You don't have to go all on over all the shapes, but do what feels right to you. So I'm doing it quite quickly. Like so. Now I'm going on and tracing all the shapes just so I can show you how I'm changing it into something a little bit different and more like something that is more you than a stencil that gets copied again and again. I also decided to trace the flower here. I think it would be a nice touch, so I'm tracing it also. Okay, and here is more of the tail. I think I've traced over everything. Oh, I forgot this. Okay. Yeah, I think now I've gone over everything. So that's what I have here. And I'm going to bring it a little bit closer now so you can see what I'm doing. Oops. Okay, so I've got this, and now I'm moving on to what I call connecting the dots, which is connecting the pieces of the stencil. To make a stencil, you need to dissect a shape into smaller shapes, and to make a focal point, you need to bring everything together again. So most of the time I will use first the same pencil, just to, as I said, connect the dots to make the shape And sometimes if it's something more simpler, then I will move and do just move directly to use a black marker to do my shape. So for this I'm using this marker or pen. It's just a fine pen with a fine tip. It's not even a permanent, but it works for me. I like to use it on the watercolor paper. Also, it seems like it doesn't react very much with the water because I'm planning on painting this with watercolors. As long as I let it dry for a minute or two, then it seems like it doesn't react. So that's what I'm using. It doesn't even have a brand. It's just something I picked at a cheap store. So what I'm doing now is going over the lines that I want to have, and I like it loose, I like it wobbly, and that's what I'm doing. But you can do you, and you can do a much more precise lines if that's what you like. I like it like this, so that's what I'm doing. Basically, I'm just reconnecting the shapes into something else. And when I'm finished, I will go over with an eraser and take all, just get rid of all the pencil lines. Go. You see, I'm very loose with my lines. They are not perfect. And I'm doing it on purpose. But that's how I like it. You can do it however you want. You can even stencil. It doesn't have to be, your focal point can be stenciled. Okay, so now I've got all kinds of details here, and I'm deciding what do I want to pick out of it. I'm not going to do all the shapes out of the stencil, just what I think interests me and will benefit how I see the bird. So basically, it's also something that you pick and decide what you like. Like if I don't like all of these shapes, I can just pick what I want. I can even do something else and have fun with it. Something like that. And I can decide that I don't like all these shapes and get rid of them. Up to you. Again, with the flower, the same thing. Going over with double squiggly line. I'm always going over another time and with another line, squiggly line, because that's how I found out that I like things to look. But that's just me. Now of course you can color however you want. I am going to use the same colors that I've used on my background. to color the kingfisher bird and probably the flower, although I haven't decided completely what I'm going to do with the flower. Now I'm going to go to do two birds, and they are going to be opposite. So if I've done now this bird, I'm going to flip it over and do another one that will go this way. And what I'm planning to do is do one bird with the purple and put it on the corner with the turquoise, and the other one that will be turquoise will be in the corner where I've put the other color. So that's what I'm planning to do, and I am hoping to get something nice. I'm also planning to stencil on my background first before I'm putting down my focal points. But I'm doing the focal points first because I need for the background to dry, and I also need for my focal points to dry. So of course afterwards just go with an eraser and get rid of whatever you don't want, all the pencil lines. Here we are, two birds. I've already done them because it takes some time, and now I'm just going and getting rid of all the pencil lines that don't interest me anymore, shapes that I decided that I don't want to have. And here we go. And as I said, of course you can color with whatever you want. It doesn't have to be watercolors. I'm just going for the duality, or I don't know if that's the correct words, but I've done one corner in one color, so, and opposite it in the other corner with another color. So I've figured I'm going to do the same thing with the birds, and I want to stay within the look of the watercolors, but I could have picked any other thing to color. So choose whatever you want. Okay, so let's do one bird with purple. I've used the purple here, so I need to use it also. Taking a brush a little smaller than what I've used on the background, and I'm just, let's see, it's too concentrated. So, I'm just going very, very loosely, just coloring, don't care. You see, nothing to it. And moving to another color that I've used. Very loose, very quick, don't care. Not sure about what to do about the flower, so we'll see. Just adding a little bit here at the bottom so it would be darker, but otherwise don't care. Okay, very loosely I'm leaving the flower for now. Maybe I'll use I'm not sure what I'm going to use. Just don't know. Okay, so now I'm picking the, yeah. And very quick, very easy. Anyone can do it. Okay, don't be afraid of the watercolors. Yeah, so now I need to figure out what I'm doing with the flowers. Well, let's go with the same family. I don't know, I'm taking some kind of, I don't know what to call it, Bordeaux wine, something like that. Maybe okay, seems good enough. Just adding a little bit so it won't be one block of solid color. Yeah, I'll figure the color that I want for the stem later. Now for this flower, let's see, maybe, no, I'll go lighter. Good enough. And once again, just adding a little bit, so not one solid color. Okay, stem. I think I'm going to use some, let's see, some olive, maybe olive green. Seems fine. I'm doing it very loosely again. It really doesn't matter. And of course I will have to fussy cut it. Yeah. When I wanted to go a lighter, I'm adding water and spreading it, so I will get a lighter shade of the same color. Yeah. Okay, so now this needs to to dry before I'm doing anything. Let's see what's going on with my background, if it's still moist in several places. This is just some of the texture of the page that just works for me. I like it. Haven't planned on it, but I like it. I don't care. I'm not sure if This journal I made it from watercolor paper or just a heavyweight paper like 240 gram. I really don't remember. So, but that's how it worked and I like it. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry completely. I'm planning on stenciling on top of it with distress inks, so I need it to be dry. I'll be back. Okay, so this is dry. I've picked distress inks, a dusty concord, seedless preserve, a shaded lilac. This is oxide, and I've got here for the other a stormy sky, evergreen bow, and weathered wood. So let's start. I've picked this stencil just because it's not symmetrical and it has kind of a wave. It doesn't cover the whole area, but I'll work something out with it. So starting with this corner, I'm going again, starting with the darker color here in the corner. And these are makeup brushes, and I'm just going here like this. Oopsie. So again, I'm going to go from dark to lighter color. And if I'm not sure how it works, I can always hold down the stencil and lift it up to see what is going on, and it's working quite good. So I can move to the next color. And I'm also a little bit overlapping, so again there would be blending between. Lifting and checking to see what's going on. How does it look? Looks nice enough. And going to switch to this. I'm working now very lightly, because what I want to do, I wanted it to fade into the background like I've done with the watercolors. Now I want the same thing with this. I want it to fade into the background, and always lifting and checking. Yeah. And now I need to remove and just go and do the same thing on here, because the stencil couldn't cover the whole thing. Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I was what I was going for. Okay, same thing in this corner. So let's see. Putting this here, and I'll start with Stormy Sky, I think. I don't have a completely, not completely, the exact turquoise color that I want in ink pads. So I'm just using blues and greens, and whatever will come out of it will come out of it. It doesn't really matter that much. Again, checking just to see if I need to put more. Yeah. Okay, moving to the next color. Let's see. Yeah, it works. Just needs patience and to check on it from time to time, because you don't see it until you're lifting. Okay, and now to a weathered wood. I think I have another, no, never mind. I'll use the blue brush. Just doing it lightly, again, blending into the background. Yes. Okay, so maybe a little bit more here. Yeah, now I'm happy. Okay, so I've got the background figured out, and now I need to go back to my birdies. They seem dry, so now the fussy cutting that I'm going to do off camera, I'm using, for those who don't know and just stumbled upon this video, I'm using nail scissors. They are more dainty, they have this curve, and I'm using it to my advantage when I'm doing some fussy cutting. And I'm just going around, and even my fussy cutting isn't that fussy. So I'm just going to do this off camera and I'll be back. Finished fussy cutting, already glued one here, and now I'm doing the other. I'm using this glue just because it has a fine nozzle, just makes my life easier. I'm all for making my life easier, but you can use any glue you want. So just putting it like this into all the details, and now placing it like so. Let's take this just so I can flatten it and not get some glue on my hands. Here we go. And I'm going to be very brave and let it be, and let all this white space hang like it is. I'm always looking to cover the white spaces. I'm going to be brave and leave it be. So That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving me comments down below. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.